Minecraft has a big problem. The sea guardians are going extinct. Every day, millions of sea guardians are killed in their natural habitat, either from players just disrespecting sea life, or industrial de-oceanization at a mass scale. So now as a community, we need to all come together to solve this serious issue. By the way, this video is dedicated to helping Team Seas and their movement, because even though Minecraft's oceans are pretty clean, we can still show our support as a community by saving the guardians. Well, did you know if you put water into a staircase and move it, the water will disappear. But if you zero tick a piston, like this, the water will stay? Well, that got me thinking about those emptied ocean monuments. What if we use the water trick to refill them, therefore saving the guardians in the process? My idea was, what if we had two flying machines right next to each other with water in them, making an infinite water source in the middle, and then we fly them off in one direction. So the hard part still is, how are we going to make a flying machine that can zero tick? Because if you remember, I can't just push it normally, the water will just break, so we have to zero tick it. For those of you who don't understand what zero tick can do, pretty much if you don't zero tick a piston, the armor stand will move. But if you zero tick it by putting a lever on top of the piston, the block will go inside the armor stand. So here are a couple ways of zero ticking with only observers, and you can see it's working because the block is inside the armor stand. And this one also works. This is the one I'm planning on using because it's really small and easy to work with. So I put the zero tick generator right behind this piston, and if I put water right here, you can see that when I power it, the water will move with it. Too bad you can't pull it backwards. So the flying machine can only go in one direction. But now how are we going to make this thing into a flying machine and move it all together? What we need to do is we need to move this piston first by zero ticking it like that. That will move the water to here, and now we have to move this piston forward, somehow, maybe with the slime block, like this. And then we have to move the whole thing together. That. Oh. Of course, that's because when you move the observers, they power. So that's why it powers everything, and since this isn't getting zero ticked, the water just breaks. So we can't have this piston here, because this observer will power it. It has to be at least up there. So we're going to put another slime block. And then we need to power it afterwards. So we need to power the zero tick first. And then maybe if we do this, it'll power this piston second, moving this piston forward. So I'm going to power the zero tick now. Oop, that didn't work at all. This is too fast. So what if we put another observer like that? See if this works. There we go. So it zero ticks this water block forward, and then it moves the piston right afterward. So the next part is we have to move all of this one block forward so that we can repower this with the redstone block again, because right now it's too far, right? So I'm gonna put a bunch of filler blocks here so that we can all move it, and maybe slime on the top, honey on the bottom, and just two pistons like this, and it'll push all of that forward. Well, I'm an idiot. It's because when we move it, all of the pistons fire, and this one will push forward because it'll be right here, and it'll push this row forward, which breaks the water. So we have to separate. I was looking at this for a little while, trying to think of a way that we can move this piston forward without it being powered by this observer. And then I realized that we actually don't need any of this. Because what if we just connected it right here? So what happens is there will be water, we'll power the zero tick, and then we just move the whole thing forward at once so that this piston will be right here again, and then the zero tick will power again. So I will push the whole thing forward, and then it'll... The reason it didn't work is because when you power this and push it all forward, look at these two observers right here. They both turn on at the same time, and this one turns on twice, it blinks twice. And what we want to happen is it only blinks once, this one, and then this one, in that order. Then you can zero tick. But if you push it, it doesn't zero tick and it just does its own thing, which is why it breaks. So I had another idea, is what if we push the top one first, so it doesn't affect this piston at the bottom. Power the top one, like that. Or I just did it in the wrong order. So water here, and then what we have to do is we have to zero tick it by powering this observer first. So that moves the water forward, like that. And then we power the top piston, which I can do with the lever. And that will move this piston forward, and it won't break the water. Then we power the bottom piston, which moves this piston into position again, so that we can just do the same thing. Now that we know that we can actually zero tick water forward and actually move it, we have to find out how to power the top one first and then the bottom. So I had a little idea. What if I added 2 pistons to the bottom? That. And then an observer. Then we just move this one back to here. Put in some filler blocks. So what happens is we power both of them at the same time. Yeah, that should work. So what happens is we power the top row right away. And then the bottom row, because it has 2 pistons, it'll power this one. And then this one. So it'll be slightly slower. So I test it. Yeah, everything is exactly where it should be. And zero tick it again. Perfect. So now we just have to move the slime block forward. That should reset everything, except for this piston didn't move. Why is that? Figured out why it didn't move. That's because when you move this piston forward, it'll actually power this observer like that, preventing it from moving. And you can see that when I do that. This piston and this piston actually power, so this one can't. So what we have to do is maybe just move it back a block. Back. What if we just move the whole thing back, actually? A single block. And I put a spacer block right here. That when I move this forward, yeah, there we go. That worked because now the observer doesn't detect anything moving because there's just a block in front of it, and it pushes the block instead of the piston into the observer, like that. Let's put that onto the actual build.
Back block. Back block, looks like. Wait, move this one back. Another block here.
That should work. Everything is where it needs to be. You power the zero tick, water forward, and then you power the whole thing in the back. Pushes everything, nice. Zero tick again. For everything in the back. Go. That's the flying machine. What we need to do now is power the zero tick after we push it forward automatically. So we push it forward, puts everything into position, and then we have to power this observer somehow. Maybe if I put a piston here, and then we just hook some observers. That, maybe? That will power the zero tick. Test it right now. Push it forward. Did, oh. I don't know why I put a bunch of observers in a row like this. It just makes it not work. What if I just put normal blocks here instead? That'll work. Water here. And then set this. So push it forward by one block. That made everything power except for this. So it didn't fire the zero tick on time. Maybe it's a bit too early? 2 pistons there. Power the zero tick again. Set this. We're gonna push it forward one more block. Okay, well, so that didn't work. But what if we copied the same timing as the bottom down here? Because I think it's still a bit too early is the problem. So what if we put a observer here, which powers a piston. And that piston powers this observer. Yeah. So it has the very same timing as the bottom row, except now it has 2 more observers in the front, so it should be slightly That should be the right time, actually. So if we power this piston... Oh shoot! It actually works. Wait, that's sick. So we just power the back piston. And it just... Yeah, everything just works. Neat. That's actually so cool. Okay, so everything is working exactly as we need it to. Now all we need is an engine in the back that moves this piston forward and then pushes everything along with it. So a pretty easy engine that I know of is piston here, piston like that, observer there, and observer here. And that's pretty much it. Oh. Well, I broke something. I think it broke because the engine was a little bit too fast. And then this one collided with this piston before it actually powered. So to fix that issue, we just have to make a slower engine. But it should still be working right now, I think. Let's try it one more time. Or this one. Okay, everything's still working. This engine is a bit too fast though. So to slow down flying machines, pretty much all you do is you just add more pistons. So how do I do that though? I'm actually really bad at flying machines, so So I looked it up because I'm really bad at flying machines actually. And the concept is still the same, just a bunch of pistons in a circle. So we power this one and it pushes everything forward, and then we just have to power this one again. So something like this. Is this one supposed to move? Or wait a sec, I don't think I did this right. Okay, so I messed around with it a little bit more. The problem was this should be there, and then we should have an observer like this, and then we power this one and it should work. Okay, yeah, there we go. This is how slow it should be, I think, for the actual machine to work. But it's kind of big, so let's try to get it a bit smaller. So to get it smaller, I want to take this observer, put it on the inside, but then that one will power this piston. So we have to move that one back a block. I think we can just put this observer right there. Wait, is it actually just this easy? Oh, that's because that's there. That didn't work either. Pull this one forward. Shoot. I think I have to push this one forward. Okay, well, never mind, that doesn't work at all. Actually, what if I put a slime block right here? Yeah, I think that's actually all I was missing. So I pulled this one forward. Oh, neat. Okay, so we got it to work. That's the flying machine. It's not super small, but I think it's small enough that we can just put it on the back of this. So let me do that quickly. Okay, so I just built it. And I think if I just power this one, it should work. Or I power this one first, and then I power this one. It should. Am I missing an observer somewhere? Oh, that's right. This piston has to be here. And then I power this one. Okay, there we go. Now it's working. So I use World Edit to copy two more of them right next to each other. So it should look like this now. And then if we just have a block with some redstone dust on top, we power all of these pistons at the same time. Server like this. they should all just fly off. There you go. Oh. Doesn't look like it's making an infinite water source, so. Well, that sucks. The water is not turning into real water. How do I stop this? I stopped it. So it doesn't turn into real water. I wonder if we need a solid block underneath it? Probably. Probably an easy fix. I just put some slime blocks right here. That'll hold on to these blocks, and we can try it again. Dust. Server. And you power it. Oh, I think it's actually working. But yeah, it's a real water source. There we go. The ocean has water now. Or I mean, the desert, but you know, this is for the ocean. This is gonna be so cool. So I copied all the flying machines right over this ocean monument right here, and I had to remove a couple blocks at the top because they were gonna hit the bottom of the flying machine. So, just to be safe, but it should be working. The only problem now is I can't turn on all of this redstone at the same time because it's so long that the redstone can't reach, and they have to turn on at the exact same time. So we're gonna figure out a way to do that. So to power all this redstone, I have a bunch of random observers everywhere, and when you depower pistons, they all turn off at the exact same time, but when they extend, they do that. So it's really fast on the comeback. So we're gonna use that to power them all at the exact same time. And now to actually make it work, I just have to remove all of this obsidian. Okay, so for the moment of truth, I definitely should have made a backup of the world, but I think I built it right, and I kind of want to just say YOLO. So here we go. Is it working? Yes. Okay, let's go. I thought it was broken for a sec because of how laggy it is. And in theory, it should be making solid water blocks right behind it. And it looks like it is. Yes. Go. Refill the ocean. Save the guardians. There's no way. Look, the guardians are respawning. Yes. It's working. This is so cool. You guys should definitely make this. It's extremely impractical, and it will probably lag your game out because it's lagging me out just a little bit. But look at this. The ocean is refilling and the guardians are actually spawning. So it's real water. That's so cool. And it's just about to reach the end. I'm gonna let it get all the way to here-ish, and then I'm gonna stop it all with obsidian. But that's so cool. I like how it just keeps glitching out and lagging. Okay, I managed to stop the flying machine. Not very elegantly, but I did stop it. But would you look at that? The ocean is completely refilled, and all the guardians are spawning in. We do have a couple issues. The spots like this have air because, you know, we filled it from the top, not actually in the bottom. So there are still gaps down here. And there's a big gap in here. But otherwise, I think it was pretty successful. Now, was it practical? No. But did we save the guardians? I think so. So after spending all that time making a zero-tick flying machine to move water, I sent it to a friend, and he told me you can actually just move water with a single tick. So if I have an observer here, like that, and I just power it, it actually moves the water. So we didn't need a zero ticket. And so I feel pretty stupid right now. But that means we can make it way smaller. And so I designed this one after a good amount of testing. And It works exactly the same. Makes solid water right in the middle, and it's really small. So if you guys actually want to go save the Guardians yourself now, I will be making a tutorial on this guy because it's literally like 7 blocks. If you don't want to wait for me to make a video so you can start saving ocean life, you should go down to the link in the description, teamseas.org, and donate only $1, because for every dollar you donate, they will remove 1 pound of trash from the real ocean. Because why save ocean guardians in Minecraft when you can just save real fish?